Ugh, oh my God, there's so much. See, that's why I can't be playing with these cats, bro. Like, damn. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and this is Planted. Hi. So, I have a little visitor. Come here, Papa Bear. Oh, he's so heavy now. This is Minkle. This is my little baby that I'm always talking about when I'm complaining about who messes up all my stuff in here, who eats all the stuff. Well, you don't really eat the stuff. You just mess with the things you shouldn't mess with, like my microphone, my soil, my bags of charcoal, sometimes my plants. But okay, anyway, today it's not about Minkle Ray, even though it should be. But today I am going to be showing you guys my top 5 favorite plants of January. I'm really excited because I started this like favorite plants series last year and I didn't get to finish out the year. I think I did like the first 2 or 3 months, but I'm very dedicated this time and hoping that life allows me to do all 12 months this year. We're gonna get started, right, Minkle Ray? Right, Minkle Ray? Oh, he's so precious. I know. All right, you ready to go? You want to go lay down? All right, go lay down, baby. Let's get started. The first plant that I'm going to show you, I'm going to give it its own spotlight here, is my variegated pothos, also known as the variegated pothos albo, and also known as the Epipremnum pinnatum albo variegata. Look, it's a lot. But it's a variegated pothos. And what I love about this pothos is the beautiful, beautiful variegation. It has different patterns of variegation. So between like this emerald green and the white, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's native to French Polynesia or Southeast Asia. So I'm seeing a few different results, but just don't quote me on that, don't quote me. The variegated pothos albo is once again known for its beautiful variegation where it produces these green leaves that have different white variegation across. Some of them will be a half leaf with the white and half green. Some of them will just be splashes of the white. They range. What I also know about the variegated pothos is that it can be a trailing plant or it can also climb. It's up to you. You can stake this with a moss pole. I have one on one of my plants that I'm going to be showing you today. You can also stake it with a cocoa coir pole, anything that you can give it some support. And whenever they get support, their leaves do tend to grow larger and they also really thrive in high humidity. This plant is a tropical plant, so it does love high humidity, frequent waterings whenever the soil is dry, and it appreciates very bright light. I have mine in a grow light on a ladder in my living room, and my living room also has 3 large windows, so I do get a lot of light in my living room. This is a plant that I probably would not keep in a room like this where it's a little bit darker. If I were to keep it in here, I would definitely give it a strong grow light. That is all I've got for you. Oh, and as for the soil, I just do regular Fox Farm potting soil, and I mixed it with some perlite, and I did a little bit of orchid bark as well. I noticed that it appreciates the extra moisture. This plant is really good at letting you know when it is thirsty. The leaves will start to curl up, so that's something to keep in mind. If you are not giving it enough humidity, watering, or anything that will give it some extra moisture, you will start to notice that the tips of the leaves will start to crisp up and brown. But they'll start to crisp up and brown right at the tip of the leaf, so that can just show you that it needs a little bit more humidity. That is the variegated pothos albo, and that is my first plant that I'm going to show you. My second favorite plant that I'm going to show you is my Syngonium chiapense. I don't know how to pronounce it, but my Syngonium chiapense. That's what I'm gonna say. This is one of my favorite plants. I got it at a plant store that was closing down. So I got it from there and it was on sale. I saw this and I thought it was a philodendron and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I wonder what that is. Well, like what variety? And I go over and it's a syngonium. So I was absolutely impressed because all the syngoniums I've typically seen have, like they're usually the arrowhead syngoniums. I'll show a picture right here. And I've had a few syngoniums like that. And I usually just struggle with syngoniums as a whole. However, this one, I had it growing in the container that it came in and it had mostly just orchid bark. But the orchid bark had nothing to keep the moisture like another medium. So the water would just run straight through. So I was like, all right, clearly this needs a little bit more TLC. So I took it out of there and I put it in just water, and it was just to like help the roots develop a little more. After I put this in the water, it has been growing beautifully because it was losing a few leaves and I was like, damn, I really don't want to lose any more. And it pushed out this new leaf recently and I love it. I love the veining on the leaves. I love how like kind of waxy feeling the leaf is, but also a little chalky. It's such a gorgeous plant. I love the dark leaf on this plant. And it is native to southern Mexico and Guatemala. This plant is so beautiful and so satisfying to watch grow. If you notice, it's really easy to propagate. They push out a lot of different nodes, so different points where you can clip it and propagate it. The roots right now look like this, and I keep it in this kind of vessel. I will be very honest with you. I don't have any fertilizer in this water. So I have been thinking about either doing semi-hydroponics, meaning water with something else, so maybe perlite or or leca. And I'm not sure if I want to do that just yet, but I for sure love keeping it in water. What I will start doing though is giving it some tap water conditioner by Southside Plants, just quick plug, because I have noticed that neutralizing the pH in the water has been helping my plants a lot and boosting a lot of growth. So I will be doing that for this plant so it can continue to thrive because I really love the way this grows. And I also love that it pushed out such a large leaf without me having to give it much support. However, I do know that a plant like this would benefit from some support. So much like the other plant, if you want to give it a sphagnum moss pole, a cocoa coir pole, some stakes, whatever, I'm sure it will benefit from that, as these leaves, or not the leaves, the stems are very thick, and while they're very hardy, they also would snap pretty easily if you're not careful. So yes, this is the Syngonium Chia Pensman. I am very happy with this beautiful rare Syngonium that I got my hands on. All right, next plant. My next plant that I'm going to show you guys is actually currently a propagation. I had to rescue it from not being okay. This is the Monstera escalado. Now, the Monstera escalado looks very similar to a few other Monsteras, specifically the Monstera adansonii, which is also one of my favorites, but not right now. Anyway, the Monstera escalado is a gorgeous plant. I had a few leaves, and unfortunately, I was not giving it the proper care last year, so it did not do well. However, I do have it propagating in this vessel right here, and as you can see, roots are starting to produce. Oh my god, I can see my face in the jar. That's so cool. Anyway, sorry. But you can see the roots here are starting to come through, so I need to start deciding very soon what I want to do with it. I don't know if I want to keep it in water, if I want to put it in some soil, but I do think I am going to put it in some soil. So I don't have much information on the Monstera escalado. I just know that like any other monster or a lot of other Monsteras, they do appreciate some support like the other plants I have shown you. So I do plan on doing that because this is a rare plant and I really want to see it thrive. So maybe this will be something like a little series of my Monstera escalado and seeing if it's going to make it or not this year. But that is the Monstera escalado. Like I said, I don't have much information on it. I'm not gonna fake it, but it is my favorite plant. It's bringing me a lot of joy because it's really nice seeing that this one leaf is making it. It's doing its best, like me. All right, next plant. My next plant I'm going to show you is my Philodendron Summer Glory. I don't know if you see a trend here, but I love a plant that either trails or climbs, but oh my God, or crawls. So I learned that the Philodendron Summer Glory is a crawler. But before I get into the Philodendron Summer Glory is actually recognized as a hybrid between the Philodendron gloriosum and the Macaulay's red. So hence why it crawls like a Philodendron gloriosum, but does produce some red leaves underneath. When they first push out, they are red and then they do turn that dark green. What I really love about this plant is that it's a crawler, but I am growing it as a climber because I kind of want to see how that goes. I do have pots that are this long, so I could have it crawling if I wanted to. My only concern is that after a while, it's going to get to a certain length that I can't keep up with. So I rather put it in something like this, where if it's climbing or crawling this way, vertically, I can keep on stacking the sphagnum moss poles. So the Philodendron Summer Glory is one of my favorites just because it's so beautiful, and to learn that it's a hybrid is so cool. I found this plant, I believe I found it in a grocery store if I'm not mistaken, but it's been commonly sold now. I used to never really see this plant a lot, and I don't remember how much I got it for, but I got it for a pretty fair price. What I also appreciate about the Philodendron Summer Glory is that it produces a lot of babies. So if you want to clip them and share them with friends, you can do that. In my last video where I did some repotting, I found a bunch of babies and I made little nursery pots of them, and I'm actually gonna start giving them away soon, and I'm really excited. Another thing to note about the Philodendron Summer Glory is that these leaves, I will say, are very prone to burning, so just be really careful with them. They're very delicate. As you can see, I have like a tear in this leaf. They're just very, very delicate, fragile leaves. So nothing too intense for light. I do have it in a grow light, but I try to be mindful of how direct that grow light is. And I also do water it quite frequently. I have noticed that it appreciates a lot of watering or frequent watering, and it also appreciates high humidity. I am going to be investing in a humidifier again. My issues with humidifiers is how often you need to clean them. So that's where I'm having some trouble, but I do know that this kind of plant and a lot of my plants are tropical. They really love high humidity. This is the Philodendron Summer Glory, and she's so beautiful. I love her so much. All right, let's move on to my last plant. My last plant that I'm gonna show you is my Philodendron gloriosum. So like I just mentioned, the Summer Glory is a hybrid, and part of its hybrid is the Philodendron gloriosum. And I love this plant. Oh my gosh, I love this plant like so much. As you can see, it's a crawler, and like I said, I have these pods that are long, so it does support the fact that it's a crawler. However, I am gonna be experimenting with this plant very soon to see how it'll do climbing or crawling upward. So I'm interested in seeing how that goes. I'm a little nervous because I don't want anything to happen to this plant. So I might just do only a little part of it, but it's such an easy plant and it produces leaves, like new leaves, so quickly. It's one of my least problematic plants. It doesn't give me any issues. It doesn't stress me out. I like it. I like it. Anyway, what I also appreciate about this plant is just these huge velvety leaves. Like, look at this in comparison to my head. These leaves are huge. And this is just me staking it with one little thing right here. I am so lucky. I am so lucky to have this plant and to have it still thriving. Despite my tough year last year, it's doing so well. But I do realize that it is time to either upgrade the pot into like a little more depth, and also just want to try out that experiment of seeing it climbing upward. They do produce babies, much like the Philodendron Summer Glory, and they're very easy to propagate. So they make a really good plant if you want to share them or make more of them, sell them, whatever. But I love this plant so much. It is so beautiful. The velvety leaves gets me every time. And they're not too sensitive to light. They appreciate the frequent watering. I do have it in perlite potting soil, but mostly orchid bark, just to keep that moisture in the pot as much as I can. And for this clear pot, I did poke holes at the bottom so it has proper drainage. But this plant is just so super easygoing and grows really fast. But all right, those are my 5 favorite plants of January. If you really like this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me below what is a plant that you are loving right now. Please let me know. I'm interested in knowing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Until next time. Bye guys. So I weather. And that is Minkle Ray. What is that called? I don't know why I'm so shy today. I'm like mad shy. I don't know what's going on. It's weird. I'm like one of the biggest extroverts that I know, but yet I will say as an extrovert, I still am very like shy every now and then. Let me collect myself because I'm starting to get frustrated. My glasses are dirty, like, god damn, I'm just struggling. Ugh, oh my god, there's so much. See, this is why I can't be playing with these cats, bro. Like, damn. To Central America? I don't want to be wrong. Let me look it up. I was wrong. I was wrong. If it will focus. If it will focus. Just got cat hair all in my mouth.